For 6 months, I spoke to no one but 2 people. No Instagram, no social life, just me and my thoughts. And honestly, the first 2 weeks were the most peaceful thing I ever felt. But then, everything started to fall apart. And this is how it all began. When I was 13 years old, I was very insecure and socially awkward. I remember that I was at McDonald's with my family and I couldn't even go up to the counter to ask for maple syrup. It was that bad. But since then, I've built myself up and I developed my social skills and I've developed my ability to speak to people, or at least I thought I did. In 2024, I created an Instagram account where I posted street workout and calisthenics content. And that was when the views and the likes started to come in, the cloud, the comments. For once, I felt confident. I felt validated and respected. But the truth is, I was just covering up a hole within myself, in my self-esteem. Because fast forward a few months later, in September 2024, everything went to shit. Everything started to crash down. The hate started, people were commenting mean stuff on Instagram. Obviously, Instagram mean stuff, sure, but I can deal with that. But it got so bad to a point that people started to create an account to diss me as a person. I could also deal with that. But simultaneously, around that time, I injured both my wrists and both my shoulders and both my collarbones. I know it sounds like the head, shoulders, knees and toes song, but I injured so many points at one point. And I thought, you know what, it's gonna go back to normal. But I gotta tell you, bro, it hurt so bad. My wrist hurt so bad that coming up like this hurt my wrists like hell. And my shoulders are not that far off as well. I cannot do pull-ups. I couldn't do pull-ups, bro. A few weeks prior to that, I could do easily 20 pull-ups. But after that, my shoulder hurt so bad I couldn't do one. It was that bad. And when I went to the doctor, they told me, do not train calisthenics until we get an MRI scan. It can take anywhere from 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year? And that was kind of like the breaking point. The one thing that was giving me validation and respect was gone. My body was broken down at that point. I didn't know what the next step was. I just genuinely felt so lost. At that point, I felt like the whole world was against me. I didn't have like this brotherhood of a community which I can turn to, I can rely on, somebody that I can just talk to. And at that point, it genuinely felt like the whole world was against me. And after watching several videos on this idea called monk mode, I decided, you know what? Maybe it's time to go lone wolf. So that's what I did. I deleted my Instagram account. That was giving me a hell of a lot of problems. And then I moved to YouTube, where I started my 48 Laws of Power series. And lastly, I also cleared my Telegram contacts, thinking, if I am not going to be growing with these people, why am I spending my time and energy with them? So that was my thought process. I cleared everybody but one person and one group chat. The first 2 weeks were very, very peaceful. I didn't have to worry about people commenting weird shit. I didn't have to worry about a new post coming from a brand new hater. And then, after those 2 weeks was when shit started to hit the fan. I started all my bad habits that I have thrown away after 2 years of self-improvement came pouring back in. Like the gates of hell just opened. I started playing games. I was about 8 months clean at that point. I started playing video games again. I started waking up late, started sleeping late. I started eating like shit all over again. My diet was absolutely shit. My face started to have pimples and everything because of my shit diet. And then, most devastatingly, I stopped working out. After that 2 weeks, I lost about 2 kilos. I dropped to about 57 kilos at that point. I was 59, I dropped to 57 kilos in just 3 weeks. And honestly, I didn't even realize how far I have fell until about 4 months later, so somewhere in January. That was when I realized that I needed to get myself back in the game. I needed to start meeting more people again. So in January, I tried. But to no avail. You know how when you have a holiday for like 2 weeks and you just don't write, and after 2 weeks you just forget how to write? Your social skills are exactly the same. I think they atrophy around the same pace. If you don't talk to people for 2 weeks, it's already gone. I went 4 months, about 5 months actually, without talking to anybody, except one friend and hi-bye, and my family of course. My social skills died. I literally couldn't call up old friends to talk to them. I couldn't ask them for lunch or anything because it just felt weird. I couldn't use my pen properly. I couldn't use my instrument properly. So yeah, lone wolf's grind, yeah, that backfired. It was only until somewhere in late January where Hu Heng told me, he tapped me on my shoulder, my friend, hydrogen calisthenics, tapped me on the shoulder, we were in the gym. He said, Ni Guang, you're different. You used to be much more social than this. I'm paraphrasing. And I realized, holy shit, I fell a hell of a lot. I fell one hell of a lot. But it was so bad I couldn't speak to new people, so how was I going to get myself out of this situation? Thankfully in March, I met this new group of friends and I managed to reconnect with some friends in the past which I never really spoke to. And these two groups of friends have honestly helped me rebuild my social skills. And for one of them groups, I've never felt a sense of belonging as strong as I have.
Oh, you can spin that? Not very well.
And with that, my social skills have been rebuilt. In fact, I think my social skills are even better than it were 1.5 years ago. I started to shake more hands again. I started to reconnect with people. I started to meet 6 to 8 figure entrepreneurs. And all of this happened because I stopped isolating and I started to hang out with a community of my people. People that were just like me, people who had similar mindsets as I do. So if you're like me and you realize that you want to isolate yourself, there's some reason you just need to take a step back. I understand you, but from my experience, I would say it's not recommended to do so because your social skills is a muscle. And if you lose that muscle, it is bloody difficult to make a comeback. I genuinely don't know how I managed to make a comeback. I got sent 2 groups of friends my way in March and I've socialized since then. I wouldn't recommend doing it. Honestly, this video would be a message to you. Your people, your tribe, they're out there somewhere. You just gotta find them. Build your mind, build your body, but most importantly, you gotta build your community. Because your community is gonna be the one that would back you up when shit hits the fan, when the whole world turns against you. You are gonna have that group, that community to back you up. My name is Ni Guang, and this channel is going to be about me documenting my adventures, my journeys, and most importantly, the lessons that I learned along the way. So, if you like my style of content so far, or you like me so far, you can drop a subscribe, check out the rest of the videos on my channel. And I shall see you in episode 5. Cheers, bro. Peace.